Now, just before we get into this, Xenos players, Chaos players, please put your pitchforks away. Yes, we are going to be talking about more new Space Marine models, but this time it's for the Successor chapters, right? We're going to be exploring theories, rumours, everything like that about some big characters that need models, that are rumoured to be getting models, that deserve models in the Warhammer 40,000 tabletop game. So let's jump in and let's get waffling. Now, you can argue that Successor chapters are sometimes more cooler than their parent faction. Black Templars, for example, I'll be the first one to hold my hands up saying that they are way more cooler than the Imperial Fist. Raptors, I'm wearing my Raptor colored t-shirt today just for you Raptors. I think they're personally more cooler than the Raven Guard. So when it comes to Successor chapters, there's a lot of fans out there that follow them rather than their parent chapter. And one thing I've noticed with the recent editions of Warhammer 40,000 is that these Successor chapters are basically been faded away by Games Workshop. The perfect example of this is the Flesh Tearers, the Blood Angel Successor chapter. That is one of the most brutal, one of the most badass successors. Gabriel Seth, who has always had rules, didn't get any rules in this Blood Angel edition. And everyone's wondering what in the Emperor's name is going on. Is he going to be going just on the shelf now? Is he going to be disappearing? Or is he eventually going to be getting a new model? And this is really what I want to explore, because I am hearing a few little things now that Successor chapters are about to get some love. So let's start, of course, with the big one, the big rumor that we've talked about previously on this channel, and that is the Crimson Fist, another Dawn lineage that is probably more popular than the parent faction. The Crimson Fist, they have some great characters with them, Alessio Cotiers, Pedro Canto, and the rumors that I've been hearing about is that Pedro Canto and the Crimson Fist are going to be receiving some love. Now, a lot of people keep asking me, when is this going to happen? Is it going to be happening during the end of this narrative edition for 10th edition? I don't think that is the case. Literally, what I see this is as a 11th edition narrative introduction of Pedro Canto, with the Orcs being the main threat. Of course, we all know the Crimson Fist really dislike the Orcs because what happened on their homeworld, Rinsworld and stuff like that, with their chapter more or less being wiped out with a let's just say a little awkward targeting computer situation over on that one. But the Crimson Fist came out swinging, they survived, and from that, they have now rebuilt their chapter. It literally states it in the new lore now for the Crimson Fist that that chapter has been fully rebuilt. Of course, Primaris Marines are going to be the main inspiration in that, and what I'm hearing, as I just mentioned, is that Pedro Canto is going to get a new model, and that is going to be happening, hopefully, very soon. Again, when I say very soon, again, I'm saying 11th edition for that one, but Pedro Canto is the first big Successor chapter master that is going to be getting a brand new model. Again, just because I trust the rumors doesn't mean that you trust the rumors, but that is number one. And from that, I've started to hear some small whispers that potentially what Games Workshop are planning to do is to do another release of Space Marine HQ characters. Now, again, I'm not saying this is going to be happening towards the end of this edition. It may be towards the end of next edition. So we're talking more or less 2, 3, 4 years away at this point, and what that revolves around is Successor chapters. So just like we've just had it right now, where we got like a brand new Lysander and stuff, the brand new is it Sabodan Khan, if I'm not mistaken, you know, all the characters that we just got for the first founding chapters, the Iron Hands, the Imperial Fist, etc., the White Scars, the Raven Guard, like the new chapter master for the Raven Guard. I'm hearing that is supposed to be happening, but this time dedicated to the Successor chapters. Now, let's move the Crimson Fist out the way, because this is where we actually do go into more of a theory mode and speculation mode. What chapters could potentially be receiving those new models? Well, right off the bat, as I've stated, you know, Raptor themed right here, the Raptors. The Raptors have been a massive theme in the narrative in this edition, and I've stated before that I've always seen Games Workshop working at one edition behind when it comes to the narrative. It gives them some more breathing room, so potentially what we're going to be getting in 11th edition, yes, they're going to be kicking off with the Orc narrative, but we may be getting some like Crusade books dedicated to more Tyranid stuff. And I think the Raptors are going to come out swinging in that one, because they've been one of the main chapters that have been fighting against the Tyranids. They've even got new decals on the decal sheet for the Raptors, and a lot of people, myself of course including this, theorize that surely the Raptors are going to be getting some type of character, unit, just something out there because of how much love they've been getting. So I definitely see the Raptors a part of this rumor of getting a new model of some sort. The next chapter, of course, as we've previously just mentioned, is the Flesh Tearers, probably one of the most iconic Successor chapters. Gabriel Seth is a massive person in the lore currently. You know, he fought with Dante, the devastation of Baal. He doesn't really like the Primaris Marines because he saw them as just like different coloured Ultramarines, but we all know like the Primaris Marines can suffer from the Black Rage, the Red Thirst, so it literally does make them true sons of Sanguinius. Now, the big question is, if Gabriel Seth is a part of this big refresh and he does get a new model, again, as I stated, he's currently not in the rules anyway. He's not in the Blood Angel Codex or anything like that. So potentially it could be maybe a Flesh Tearer Codex, like Successor Codex or something. I'd probably see it as more of like a narrative book, like I mentioned, like Crusade, rules are in there, etc., etc. Now, if he was to get a new model, the big question is, I want to ask you chaps, would he be Primaris Gabriel Seth? Would he take the Rubicon Primaris? Would he go back on his words, what he saw the Primaris as? Will he embrace it now because the Primaris can suffer from the Red Thirst, the Black Rage? Are they true sons of Sanguinius? I don't know, but what I do know is that we do need a brand new Gabriel Seth, and I would love for him to be a part of this rumoured refresh of Successor chapters. And speaking of fan favourites, another Successor chapter which I would absolutely love to get more official love from Games Workshop is the Carcharodons, aka the Space Sharks. The Red Wake. Give me a new Red Wake model. We've just had a big Terminator refresh, right? Give me Tiberius the Red Wake in new scale Terminator armor, his jawed chainsaw hands like ripping things apart. This is the perfect time to get a model like this. Again, there's such a fan favorite chapter. Everyone loves the Space Sharks. They're so brutal. They're just really like the Flesh Tearers in their brutality when it comes to it, but there's more mystery around them because some people think they're descended from the Night Lord gene seed. Some people think they're descended from the Raven Guard gene seed. There's a theory, there's speculation out there that they're descended from both of these gene seeds mixed in, Raven Guard and Night Lords. I think that is the more cooler story in that one, but again, that's just theory, that's a story. But the Carcharodons, aka the Space Sharks, would absolutely be a tremendous way to go with Games Workshop. One thing I do want to talk about just quickly before we move on to the next one is that we know that the Carcharodons are going to get some love in Space Marine 2, the game, and I'm thinking maybe some type of cross-marketing that may happen. Maybe if they put all that stuff out there with the skins and the decals and stuff, how amazing would it be if Games Workshop then put out a new model out? Hey, look, cross-market. That's how it should be working, Games Workshop. That's how you should be running your company, right? Listen, hire me and you'll earn even more money. I think if I was a betting person and this rumour does turn out to be true, again, rumours are all lies, take them for what you want, but if it does turn out to be true, I'm wondering if they would do it where like they do it as one Successor chapter per first founding. So, for example, if you got the Imperial Fist, of course, then you do get the Crimson Fist. If you've got the Blood Angels, then you get the Flesh Tearers, Raven Guard, Raptors, but then again, Raven Guard, Carcharodons, you know, the mix of that. I don't really like White Scars, what, Stormlords maybe, something like that. You tell me, right? You tell me in chat what Successor chapter that you would like to be brought to life in terms of a brand new model, right? There's something like Lamenters, like Nova Marines. There's so many cool chapters out there. Some of the new ones that they've just added now were like the Primaris foundings. There's new Salamander chapters out there. There's Wolfspear out there right now. You know, Space Wolves, could we get like a Wolfspear type of captain or model or stuff like that? I know you can more or less use a Space Wolf stuff for that they just got, but you know, there's so much stuff out there now where they can go with, and I definitely think the more flavour added to the Space Marine faction that way makes the Space Marine faction way more cooler. And I know there's got to be Xenos players, there's got to be Chaos players in chat absolutely raging at me. You've got enough. The Ultramarines have just got all this stuff. I know, I get it. But guess what, right? The cool kids don't play the Ultramarines. We play the cooler chapters. So this is why we want models for our cooler chapters. And don't worry, you are going to be getting more Chaos stuff. You're going to be getting more Xenos stuff. Exodites, Eldar Corsairs, right? New range refresh of the Dark Eldar. There's going to be so much stuff coming, right? There's literally so much stuff out there that is going to be happening in Warhammer 40,000. All I'm asking is just give us a little bit more rule of cool when it comes to Space Marine Successor chapters. Is that too much to ask? I don't think it is. Right. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining me on this waffle. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, predictions, hopes, dreams, post it down below. I'm going to have a nice little chin wag down there as we always do. See you now. Have a great day and bye-bye.